Sales is the art of blending these opposites. The thing that stops your enthusiasm is anxiety. From the moment that they open that door, you've got two strikes against you. Like, you're not salespeople, you're in the business of serving, you're in the business of helping people. The people with the most energy make the most money.
All right, we made our way back to Boston, the homeland up here, and we're gonna go sell some salespeople on selling. We got some new sauce, so make sure that you tune in because there's a lot of nuggets. Not taking notes is like eating spaghetti with a spoon. You're gonna get a lot on you, but you're not gonna get a lot in you. The next level of teaching is performer. We're gonna take your game to the next level. Tune in, baby. Make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to comment because that means a lot. We're gonna drop the sauce, baby.
Let's give them a round of applause.
Let's go. Hey, so I like small groups because it's going to get pretty intimate today. I'm going to really help you guys like get better. Are you guys like serious about getting better at your profession today?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're able to take notes, if you're able to do something, I don't know if we have a notepads or pens, or even if it's on the notes in your phone, because I really want to help you guys today. You know, it's not the biggest group, but like the idea is that if you really focus on your techniques, like you guys can get a lot better at sales. By a show of hands, how many of you guys are in your first year doing door-to-door? Okay. How many guys have done door-to-door for over 2 years? 2 years? Anybody over 5 years? 10 years? All right, let's start with your first nugget right here. It's called the psychology of yes. The psychology of yes. There's a psychology of why people say yes to us, and there's a psychology why people tell us no. The psychology of yes starts with you. You are the product and service. Your energy and enthusiasm is 51% of the sales process. Really, I'm going to open up your mind right now. When you overcomplicate things in your own mind, you will become overwhelmed. When the homeowner overcomplicates things, they get overwhelmed. You see, if enthusiasm is 51% of the sale, the thing that stops your enthusiasm is anxiety. Anxiety is the acid that wipes out your enthusiasm. You see, when I knock on somebody's door, the anxiety is here and the certainty is here. Well, how do I shift that to the point that they have certainty in what I'm doing and they don't have the anxiety? And it starts with you. You are the product and service before anything, before solar, before Freedom Pros. You are the product and service. From the moment that they open that door, you've got two strikes against you. So it's like sales is the art of blending these opposites. So you are the product and service, psychology of yes, you. E stands for energy. The people with the most energy make the most money. And service, like you're not salespeople, you're in the business of serving, you're in the business of helping people. And when I think of the energy, how to be able to create that energy, I get my energy from yeses, but I get my energy from where I put my energy. Where you put your energy, you have influence. Where you take your energy outside of where you have influence, that's how you wear yourself out every single time. And then I'm really in the business of serving people. I don't sell anybody anything. I help people get involved with the product or service that I know is truly better for them. Most people that are telling you guys they're not interested, they haven't even seen the report yet. They haven't even seen the picture of the roof. They haven't even seen the actual apples to apples comparison. Of course they're not interested. So I think of the psychology of yes, starting with me as the product and service, but then there's also a psychology of no. And the psychology of no starts with things like inadequate explanation of benefits, lingering questions, hidden questions. That's why I'm always covering the 5, 6 major questions beforehand. Now, when we talk about urgency, one of the things that nobody is doing in the industry, nobody is doing this. You guys are selling in National Grid or Eversource? Both? Okay. So you never heard anybody ever talk about this before. What are ways that you guys build pain right now?
It's obviously the increase in your bill, like, you know, a 30% increase at any time. Like if National Grid or Eversource wakes up today and they decide to raise your prices, you can't really shut it down. You got to pay it or pay it.
Mm-hmm. So that's the public information. What about the private information they don't want you to know about? You guys know about the private information they don't want you to know about? It's the debt. Go Google Eversource debt on your phone and watch what comes up. Google National Grid debt and go watch what comes up. That's the first level of pain, is the rate increases. The second level of pain is the deficit that these utility companies are facing right now. The third level of pain is the infrastructure. So I say, hey, it's not Eversource's fault. The fact is that we're maintaining an infrastructure that's over 110 years old. And because of the power comes from point A to point B to point C to point D, that's why they constantly have to raise our rates. But the rate increases aren't going away. The debt is something that I've been hitting on tremendously with the homeowners, because when you can build a pain, there's going to be a change. You see, most of the time when you're knocking on these people's door, they have a little pebble in their shoe, right? You say a 30% increase, and they probably have a $200 bill. But what do you think is that $200 bill? It's probably on auto pay, right? They just pay it every single month. They know it's coming out of their checking every single month. They see it on their statement. They pay it. It's like walking with that pebble in their shoe. But when the pebble in the shoe turns into a glass shard, what happens? If you had to walk with a little shard of a Bud Light glass in your shoe, would you take another step? Because it would hurt. But have you walked with a pebble in your shoe? It's annoying, but you probably don't want to untie your shoe, take off the shoe, dump out the little pebble. That's what's happening right now with people's utility bills. But what most people don't know how to do is position that value. Position the value to the homeowner to think, wow, I've never thought about it that way. That does kind of make sense. But if you sound like every other salesperson, what do you think they're going to do? Yeah, if I sound like every other salesperson that's knocked on their door, they're going to give me the same response that they gave to the last 19 people. I'm in California. I'm knocking with a kid. And I'm like, how many sales did you get last month? And he's like, I got 3 sales last month. And I was like, oh, did you go on a vacation? And he's like, no, I worked all month. And I was like, well, what hours are you starting? He's like, I start at 12 and I work till 9 every day. And I say, so you work 9 hours every day and you don't, well, how many breaks do you take? Do you take a lunch break? What do you do? And he's like, well, I do this real quick and then I'm in the field. And I'm like, okay, so you worked roughly about 6, you worked like 40 to 45 hours in the field last week. Are you sure about that? He's like, yeah, I work like 40 hours a week and I had 3 sales. And I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. How could you only get 3 sales in 45 hours every single week? And my first hour and a half knocking, I got 2 sales right in front of this kid. And I said, dude, like, how did I just get 2 in 2 hours and you got 3 in a month? He goes, I'll tell you exactly what you're doing. He goes, these people have never heard what you're saying because I've never even heard this shit. It's the way that you position the value for the homeowner to think differently about what's happening. You know, if you really think about it, they're buying power from themselves. They're not buying power from the utility company. They now have the ability to have control and predictability in a bill they're never going to cancel. The way that I position the value, the way that when I explain the deal or the opportunity every single time, it goes a little something like this, and it varies every time, but this is exactly what I say when I position the value, where I kind of take that turning point of the sale is, so to make this super easy for you to understand, all we would propose is utilizing the roof as a power plant, and any power that system produces, you're able to buy that power at a much more economical amount. So the idea is the sun goes up, the bills go down. You're not buying solar equipment. You're just buying the power that that system produces. You guys get, is this solar? You guys get that one in the field? So when people say, is this solar? I say, it is solar related, but it does not require you to purchase any sort of solar equipment. It's a great way to handle that one. It is solar related, but it does not require you to purchase any type of solar equipment. It's a really good way to handle that one-liner. There's different lines that I have for different situations, but after watching so many salespeople in the field and shadowing people, the biggest thing that I notice that I do compared to them, and the most important part of presenting a product or service, is getting that family physically involved. I'm telling you, it's so many people are just talk at the homeowner. Hey, these are the reasons you should go solar. I tell them the reasons they shouldn't go solar. I flip the switch. I say, hey, rather than me sitting here telling you all the reasons that this would make sense for you, I'll be the one to tell you why you shouldn't do it. If I was sitting here trying to convince you to go into debt and I'm handing them a slick, if I was convincing you to go into debt, if there's any interest, if there was like some sort of loan involved, you probably would have told me to kick rocks 3 minutes ago. The only way you would get involved with a program like this is if we could show you a way that we would take the money that you're already giving to the utility company and that could fund the entire project. Keep in mind, you would have to be eligible for that specific program, because the ideal situation when a family does this is they're actually willing to pay more to go solar because they gain that control and predictability. I think the main reason that deters people is they don't want to pay any of the upfront costs. Obviously, there's the fortunate few that are rich and they pay for everything out of pocket. Now, like, because of certain circumstances and situations, there's some families that could only do this if we could show them a way that we would exempt them from the upfront costs and then be able to lower the bill immediately from day one. So it's not what you pay per month, it's every one of those kilowatt hours. It's just being able to gain that control and predictability. So a lot of the people that have already done this, what they've told me is they just wanted to get away from the utility company. Conviction, the top people, they shine with something we call conviction. They have this absolute catching belief about themselves, their product, their service, their company. It does not matter what door I knock. I have a level of conviction that when I go up to this homeowner's home, it would be absolutely ridiculous. Like, they're already talking about it. This is a done deal. The whole backside of the roof gets crushed in sun. There's no possibility they could tell me that they didn't want to do this. Oh, hi, sir. How are you? My name is Taylor McCarthy. Actually, the reason I'm calling by is like a little bit different. I'll just cut to the chase. This is 672 4th Avenue. Okay, I was one that put together the report for this location. That's how I start my presentation every single time. I have their house pulled up. I know exactly where the panels are going to go. I sell myself before I knock on the door. I can show them the actual sun hours of the home. And what I say to build curiosity in the first 30 seconds of my presentation is, I was the one that put together the report for this location. This is 650 North Road, correct? They cannot tell me no. They can't say, no, I'm not interested. See you later. They're curious. And then I want to be able to blend these opposites, which is communicating and persuading. Communication is not what I say. It's not how I say it. It's how I can make them feel. And then persuasion, which is the opposite side of communication, is there's 3 ways to persuade people. And don't let me forget that, because I want to tell you what those 3 ways are. But when I'm blending these opposites and I'm like, yeah, I was the one that put together the reports. We conducted aerial imagery of this whole entire zip code. I don't know if you guys saw the drones. Don't worry, it wasn't Russia. It wasn't China. And then I'm trying to remember, their anxiety is here. I'm knocking a door. I'm knocking their door. I need to reduce that anxiety and create certainty. Another nugget for you. I'm just going to give you nuggets today. I'm just going to give you a bunch of nuggets. I'm going to give you all the techniques, all the one-liners today. You ever have people that are rude to you on the doors? You ever have people that yell at you? So this is my new way. This one is murder, as J. Douglas Edwards says. So when people are disrespectful to me, I used to do little play games, it's nice to be important, it's more important to be nice. Now I play a different game. It's like a sales is a Broadway show played by psychologists. So I'm completely flipping the script. When people are disrespectful to you, what I want you to start doing now is I want you to apologize and say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I say that I was disrespectful, okay? And then this is what I do. This is so money. It works every time to flip the homeowner. So they're disrespectful to me. I say, I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I have empathy for you. Our upper management has us going door to door. It's getting a little ridiculous. I get it. They told me I had to go door to door this week. I was like, are you kidding me? So you're flipping it on the homeowner. Hey man, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I have empathy for you. I have upper management and they're making me go door to door. It's ridiculous. You guys have a lot of door to door here, huh? Yeah, I get it. It's ridiculous. But like I was saying, and then I just keep going into my presentation. You see, everything that I say during my sales presentation will help me or hurt me. There's no neutral. When I talk about blending these opposites of communication, how I can make them feel, putting things into their hand, I might say, yeah, it's easier if I show you, put something into his hand. So like when I did your report, what was so unique is like this portion of the roof, actually it's easier if I show you. And the next thing you know is they're out looking at their roof. And I'm like, what's so unique about this is because of the way that your house faces, I was able to use a lot less equipment to maximize the production. So the numbers look like unbelievable. It's like one of the best systems. All I got to do is show you the report. If I go through the process with you, you would do it. It's just the hardest part of my job is timing. I just look for the time when we both have it. And then I'm just going to show you the logic behind this. I just put a line down the middle of a piece of paper. I'm going to show you both situations. So we talked about communication. What about persuasion? How do you think you would persuade somebody? There's 3 ways to persuade people. 3 specific ways that you could persuade somebody when you're presenting a product or a service. What are ways that we could persuade a homeowner?
First, I acknowledge whatever rejection they have. Sometimes it's like, yes, I understand. I accept that. It's like a beer, you know, they start forming out. So just wait a little bit and then just go and communicate with them.
Okay. Good. What are 3 ways we can persuade somebody?
Take it away. Build alignment between what you have to offer and what they're looking
All good things. I'm looking for more generalized things that you could do. You can ask what? Ask questions. You can persuade by asking questions. You can persuade by making statements. What do you think the 3rd way is?
Making him feel special. Well, not special, but like
3 ways you can persuade is by making a statement, by asking a question, or by utilizing silence during your presentation. Because when you utilize silence, it requires thought on the part of the buyer. But when we ask questions, a lot of the times when you ask questions, you're only going 1 level deep on the questions. So you ask a question, they answer it, and then you move on. Well, if you really want to build pain, if you want to turn that pebble in their shoe into a glass shard, you need to learn these 2 words after you ask a question. What else? And I'll give you an example of that. So obviously, people go solar for their own reasons. Before I explain to you what I believe, whether it be the control and predictability, you know, some people do it for the savings, some people do it for the environmental, you know, some people do it because they look at solar like an amenity. But for you, why do you feel like solar would make sense in your situation rather than being at the mercy of the power company?
Just savings.
Just savings? Okay, I guess savings are important, but what else?
Maybe see if I need a new roof and you guys can do it for me.
Okay, so what else?
Just, you know, helping the environment.
Okay, see, I want to draw out the thoughts from the buyer by following up the question with those 2 questions. Like, what else? I want to get them to talk. Because you see, if you talk, if I say it, people will tend to doubt it. But if they say it, then it's true. If I say it, they tend to doubt it. If they say it, then it's true. You see, this is the art of just blending what I'm doing during my presentation. If I was to break down the most important things that I would tell you to focus on when you're on the doors, it's I have to create curiosity. How many people do you knock on and they say, I'm not interested? Happens, right? You know what I think when people say not interested? I think if I want to get them interested, I need to be interesting. Those are things that go through my mind when I'm on the door. If I want to get somebody interested, I have to be interesting. They're never going to be interested if you're not interesting. Sounds like basic information, but it's times when you give yourself a checkup from the neck up in the field that you make these pivots, because I don't knock every door and get every sale. I get the door slammed in my face too. I get people that aren't a good fit for my program. I have bad timing, but I don't focus on what I do wrong, but I just pivot. I make these adjustments. Hey, I got to be a little bit more interesting. I got to make sure that I'm having fun out there. I got to focus on my effort and input every single day in the field. And that's how you create interest. A lot of the time when I hear specific objections, I utilize laughter. This is another technique that a lot of people don't know. Okay, so just tell me you're not interested. Yeah, of course, sir. You don't want to buy anything, right? Cool. Just like a little bit different. And I keep going in my presentation, but that little laughter after hearing you're not interested. Or specifically, if I hear an objection that I know is a smokescreen, I don't necessarily agree with them on every time that they give me an objection, because an objection is a tactic or a technique used by the buyer to stall or prolong the final decision. So if I hear an objection, a lot of the time, if I know it's a smokescreen, like somebody's give me a random objection. Yeah, that's the thing. So like when we do pick everybody, are allotted 5 of these that we can fund. I've already done 3 and I'm going to do 2 more today. And I just keep moving with the program. I keep moving with the process. What I say when I hear the objection? Yeah, that's the thing. I just keep moving with the presentation. Maybe if you say it 2 or 3 times, or you have a specific objection that I'm going to address, you might want to write this one down. You might want to program this information, because I don't want you guys leaving here and being like, oh yeah, that was all good stuff. But the purpose of knowledge is not knowledge. It's taking action with the knowledge that you get. I love saying this one. When I hear an objection that's a true concern, or I want to find out the reason why they should do it, I say, sir, you obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? You obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? All right, I want you to recite that one that I just said. Go.
Sir, you obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it?
Good. Program. Okay. Right here.
Oh, sorry. Obviously, do you have a reason for saying that? Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, you obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me?
Do you mind sharing with me?
Good way to handle that objection. Another really good one-liner. Obviously, like when the sale isn't going in the direction that I wanted, or I feel like a little friction happening, or they're like, yeah, I'm good, I'm all set. Look, man, obviously they aren't. But if the panels were on the roof, what do you feel like your biggest concern would be? Obviously they aren't. But if the panels were on the roof, what do you feel like your biggest concern would be? Okay? This is a more technical one-liner right here, but I promise if you can stick this one is going to be one that you're going to love. You're going to use this all the time. Does this work right here? Okay, I can use this actually. So this is called the triplicate of choice close. This is one that you have in your bag and you use it when you need it, but it's one that I love. And I'm just going to show you the framework of the close. So all you got to do is learn the beginning part. Okay, this is going to go back to positioning value. So I'm going to explain to you the concept of this close. Like, let's say this bill goes into effect like you were talking in 2026. All the Pop-Tart salespeople, all the wait and see salespeople, they're done. All the people that are ready to start training, that's what's going to eliminate the trying. And if your tactics are sound, they can't fight you. So this close is super powerful. How it works is when you start the close, it starts with going the price higher. Then you go way higher, then you go to what it really is. It's going back to positioning value. We prospect to be able to present, to be able to position the value, to be able to go into our pricing, the 4 Ps of getting a sale. So how this would go is, I'm gonna recite it for you guys, and then you'll see exactly what I'm doing. Give me an example of a monthly amount that the homeowner's paying on their bill. Just give me any number. What's the monthly amount?
$358.
They're paying let's just keep it even number. Let's say let's say $350. $350 is the amount that they pay for their average bill. What is the amount that I need to get them to on their solar, for their solar?
Probably shoot for at least 30% savings, so maybe do 240. I mean, it just really depends
240.
on the situation, yeah.
That's an average situation here in Mass. They pay 300 and I'm going to get them to 240. Okay. So how this close would go is, and what's your name?
Giovanni.
So Giovanni, what you have to understand is the ideal situation when a family goes solar is they're willing to pay a little bit more, like an additional $5 to $10 a week probably won't take food off their table. But if they gain that control and predictability, they realize it's better than being at the mercy of the power company. Now, I think for a lot of people, what deters them from getting involved is all the upfront costs. Now, there are the fortunate few that are rich and they pay for the entire system out of pocket. They pay for the labor, they pay for the installation, they pay for everything out of pocket. Now, because of certain circumstances and situations, there's some families that could only get involved with this program if we could show them a way that we'd completely exempt them from all the upfront costs. But instead of the amount going up, the amount would go down and they would gain that control and predictability. Now, if you were eligible for that specific program, there's a few things we would want out of it from you, but how many years have you guys even lived here? 20. Okay, perfect. So that's what we consider like what we like to refer to as a model home, because you're pretty much like a billboard for us in the neighborhood, where a lot of people realize they could take all the emotion out of the equation. And if it was a logical situation, they would just rather pay less on a bill they weren't going to cancel. But like, for example, if I was able to cut the bill, let's say 50, $100, that's not the reason you would go solar. That's kind of like the cherry on top. Because at the end of the day, the utility company is going to continue to nickel and dime us. The public information, which you probably know about, is all these rate increases. The private information, which they don't want you really to know about, is the debt. Now, it's easier if I show you. So like Eversource is $12.4 billion in debt. And it's not Eversource's fault, in my opinion, because the rate increases are going to continue to happen. I think it's more so that the infrastructure is over 100 years old. And what's going to happen is as they continue to have to maintain something so old, that's why we're going to continue to be at the mercy of the power company. But I think we can both agree if you move, Eversource isn't going to give you any of that money back. It's like paying 100% interest. You see, what I'm doing here is I'm positioning value. I'm starting at high, I'm going way higher, and then I'm going to what it really is. This is the number one thing that I think salespeople don't know how to do. And when you position the value correctly, then the homeowner sees it differently. And if I was a homeowner, the way that I'm thinking is, it starts off with, oh, another solar guy. I'm not interested. I'm going to tell this guy no. Oh, wow, that program is a little different. Oh, wow, there's no loan involved. Oh, yeah, this is different. Well, maybe I should listen to it. Wow, there's a new program that just started. Well, yeah, it would probably be good to no longer have to see these increases. Yeah, we did see a heart attack bill last summer. Yeah, all right, see, a sale is a series of sales. I'm getting yes, 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 86 times before I get to the final close. And then I walk out of the house and the kid's shouting at me, he's like, oh, that was a lay down sale. Well, yeah, it was a lay down sale because they said yes a bunch of times before I got to the end of the sale. And that's the art of persuasion, is being able to make something look so simple, but it's complicated. It's complicated. It's like I could show you something so simple that could be complicated, but I'm asking the right questions to solve their problems. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example here of how I lead with questions. Okay, I need one volunteer to come up. Okay, have you ever played cards before?
Like blackjack or something?
Yeah. Okay, all right, I want you to come up here. I want you to show you, I'm going to show you guys an example of effective questioning right now, okay? So, okay, I want you to close your eyes and turn around. Don't peek. Okay, everyone can see that? Everyone can see that, okay? So we're going to put this right under here. Okay. All right, forgive me, brother. What was your name?
Giovanni.
Giovanni, nice to meet you, bro. Where are you from?
Colombia.
What part?
Medellin.
Medellin. You know what the best part of Colombia is? If you were to rate the #1 city of Colombia, what would you say?
Probably be Medellin, yeah.
Medellin? Medellin, maybe #2, #3. I'd have to say #1 is Cali.
Okay.
You ever been to Cali?
I know, but I mean, I know it.
What about San Andreas?
It's a tourist trap.
San Andreas? You know, I went there. I had a good time, but
It's like the Miami or Colombia.
that's where everybody from Colombia goes on vacation, isn't it? Yeah. Do they have casinos in Colombia at all? Yeah. Do you play like? Do you ever go to the casino?
Yeah.
Nice. What do you play?
Blackjack, Baccarat.
And if you were to say, if you had to win money, what would you play?
Baccarat. Gives you
Baccarat?
odds.
You know what's better odds than Baccarat? Casino War, but they only have it in certain casinos. It's just their card versus your card. It's like Go Fish or whatever. But I sometimes get forgetful. Do you know how many cards are in a deck?
No.
You don't. Does anybody know how many cards are in a deck? 52. That's correct. That's right, isn't it? And if I'm not mistaken, there's 2 colors in the deck.
Red and black.
There's red and the black, isn't there? Okay, perfect. And there's 4 different suits. There's the
Diamonds.
diamonds and clubs, which are black, and there's the hearts and the hearts and diamonds are red, and the clubs and spades are black. That's what it is. Would you name the any color? Just name either color. Red. Okay. And with the reds, there's the hearts, and then there's also the diamonds. Would you name the hearts or the diamonds?
Diamonds.
Okay, and through the process of elimination, that would only leave you with the hearts. Now, there's numbers and there's face cards. There's low numbers, there's high numbers, and there's face cards. Would you name one of those 3?
Like the face.
Well, we're left with the hearts. I want you to just either pick low numbers, high numbers, or face cards.
Say a number.
No, just pick either one of those 3. Low numbers, high numbers, or face cards. Name one of those.
3.
No, name the low cards, the high cards, or the face cards.
What do you mean?
Say one of those 3 things.
Say one of those 3. Either the answer is low card,
Low cards.
which leaves you with the high cards, and it leaves you with the face cards. Now name one of those 2.
Face cards.
The face cards. So the hearts and the face cards leaves you with 4 options. The jack, the queen, the king, and the ace of hearts. Name 2 of those.
Jack. I'm sorry, ace.
Name 2. So the jack and the ace.
Jack and ace.
Okay. Now the jack of hearts and the ace of hearts, would you name one of those?
Ace.
Which leaves you with only 1 remaining card, and what would that be?
Jack.
The jack of hearts. Okay. So if you go to that iPad for me real quick, I just want you to pick up that piece of paper. And what does that card say? You see, it's not a magic trick. It's the art of effective questioning. It's the idea of that concept of what I did there is I'm leading them to the questions, or I'm leading them to the answer that I need him to get to. He didn't know that he was going to pick Jack of Hearts. I led him to that answer, and that
What he said, he's right.
no matter what he said, he's right. And that's the most important part of sales is I know the direction that sale needs to move. I know where I need to get that sale at the end. That's why I'm asking the right questions to take their hand. I'm not selling them. I'm actually the assistant buyer and leads him to the process. All right, let's give it up to Giovanni. So where's everybody from here? Where's everybody from in Massachusetts? Name some towns. Waltham? East Boston? Okay, what about everybody else? Framingham? You speak Portuguese?
A little bit.
A little bit? Revere, where else? Revere? Lynn? Anybody heard of Pepperell?
Yep. Oh, skydiving.
Yeah, born and raised. I never did that, dude. I'd be the one where the chute wouldn't pull, and I'd be like, dude, what am I doing? So for you guys that don't know, I'm born and raised in Massachusetts. I started as a golf caddy when I was 15 years old, 15, 16, 17. I watched my parents struggle. I carried 2 golf bags. When I was 18, I got into door-to-door sales. I used to drive from Pepperell to Wareham, Massachusetts. Anybody know where that is? So I'm driving from Pepperell to Wareham every day. My first day doing door-to-door sales, I earned $86 a sale. And my first hour, I sold 3. And I was like, damn, that would have taken me 20 hours of carrying 2 golf bags on my shoulders for what I just earned in 1 hour. And at that moment, I had a huge aha moment. And it was like, damn, I can make as much money as I want to make. I can go out and work hard and be able to create my own luck. I'm no longer at the point where somebody's telling me I'm worth 20 or 30 or 10 bucks an hour. I can go out and I can go prove it every single day. So these thoughts come into my mind, and then I realize, well, the more that you learn, the more that you know that you need to learn. That's what is the greatest thing about being a sales professional is you learn, and then you say, hey, I can learn even more. And then as your skill set goes up, then your bank account goes up. Who remembers who Inspector Gadget was? Yeah, I like to call it Go-Go Gadget bank account when you get really good at this. And you're not really, like, I'm really not working. I've never worked in the last X amount of years because I figured out a way that it's not work for me. It's like, don't raise your hand. Do not raise your hand unless you were actually like super addicted at one point to video games. If you were super addicted at one point to video games, raise your hand. If you weren't, don't raise your hand. He like looked both ways and he's like, yeah, it was me. What video game did you play?
I used to play World of Warcraft. I don't know. I'm a MMORPG.
So you were pretty addicted?
Yeah, I was when I came to this country because it's like
What country did you come from?
Colombia.
What part?
It's close to Medellin. I'm most from the from the small towns, Santa Rosa also. So
Yeah.
small towns like around Medellin.
Mi español es muy bueno.
Muy bueno.
Yes, sí, hola, me llamo Taylor. ¿Es tu casa? Sí. Lo siento, blanquito español. Necesito practicar.
What did I play?
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, we're obsessed.
And yeah.
That was like that negative, like, yes. I was obsessed at one point. Long time ago. There's some people that say long time ago in these meetings, and they were like, dude, I was just in a game till 3 a.m. last night. But the point I'm getting to here is when you can become the player in your own video game, that's when you're never going to work another day in your life. Because if you were addicted to those things at one point and your parents were like, hey, go to your room, go play Call of Duty for 10 straight hours, you'd be like, yes, that's awesome. But nobody wants to go out and go knock for 10 hours because they don't have fun doing it. The reason you don't have fun doing it is because you have to persist through all this rejection. That's why that rejection needs to turn you on. That's why you need to figure out to make this a video game. And then you'll never work another day in your life. It's just this game that I play. And some do, some don't. So what? Someone's waiting. No matter what, I have the better opportunity. I am paid thousands of dollars to give away free money. Stop overcomplicating it. That's what your job is. You're just giving away free money. You're giving away control and predictability. You're giving people off the mercy of the power company. And these are the things that I think about throughout the day. And I keep this positive mental attitude. Anybody heard of North Middlesex Regional High School? Anybody like play them in sports? No? So that's the high school I went to, and I had a 1.8 GPA. I didn't have the PhD, but I maintained something called a PMA, which is this positive mental attitude and the way that you think. I don't know if it's the first door that I'm going to knock at and get a sale. I don't know if it's the last one. Some days it might be 10 p.m. that I get my first sale. Someday it might be the second door, like the one I just had in Houston. It was just down in Houston. The second or third door I knocked was a self-gen. And I decided, well, hey, obviously you're going to have a good day when you get a sale right off the bat. Most salespeople, they go home after they get a sale, even though the number one time, when is a salesperson more contagious than any other time? Right after they make a sale. And I want to teach you this is, I have these 3 kids shadowing me in the field, and I go out there and I'm like, feeling so good this day. I'm like, dude, you see people react to the range of your voice, the volume, the pace, and the diction. At the time, I had a white Audi, and it had red interior, and it was all stocked up. It was like my first big thing. It was like my trophy when I first got into door-to-door sales. It's sitting in my garage in New Hampshire right now. And I was driving to turf, and I'm like, I got these 3 5-star recruits. The rich homie Quan some type of way, got the custom Breitling, feeling great. And I'm like, let's go, Taylor, let's go. And start self-talking myself like crazy. And I'm like, dude, we're going to smash it today. And we get out of the field. We get into the field. I'm like, yo, you guys ready? Let's go. And it's just these kids' first day in door-to-door. And I'm like, the best part about today, The first house we're talking to is already a sale. They were talking about it last night. It's actually this house right here. Let's go, guys. So what's crazy is he plays Xbox, and last night she opened the bill, and when she opened it, she was like, what stop playing Xbox. That's the reason the bill keeps going up. And I'm knocking the door, and I'm like telling him this whole story. He's like, Taylor, how do you know this information? I'm like, don't worry about it. Because IASM, I am sold myself. These kids probably thought like, yo, this kid's a lunatic. And I'm like selling myself before I even knock the door. They opened the door, and my presentation was so perfect. It was like everything. I hit every line. Had the conviction. I got him involved. I got him out of the house. I did everything. And the guy hands me the slick back, and he goes, this is a gated community. You're not supposed to be here. And he slams the door in my face. I look at my recruits, and I was like, bro, that was nasty. We're on fire today. I'm like, what the fuck? This kid just got the door slammed in his face. I was like, it was my bad, bro. It was that guy that was playing Xbox. I go to the next house, perfect presentation. Lady slams the door in my face. She's like, solar guys, you guys were already out here. I'm like, bro, we're on fire today. 5, 6 doors in 2 hours straight. I'm just getting the door slammed in my face. And I'm like, bro, we are crushing it. These kids are like, what's going on? Kept this PMA, led to a self-gen. She walks across the street, introduced me to another guy. I walked across the street, said, hey, I'm finishing up with them. Next thing you know, we got 3 self-gens, but it's because I focused on what I was doing right, not what I was doing wrong. Change your mindset to this and watch what happens. Change your mindset to you no longer get paid commissions. You do this out of a goodwill to help people. Who feels like they genuinely are helping people when they take them through the process of going solar? Who believes that there's no way you can hurt their situation? That the utility companies are corrupt? This is the level of conviction that you need to be able to persuade and convince somebody. So I switched my mindset to I don't get paid for the sales. I get paid for the rejection. Why do I help people get involved with the program or service? It's because I do this out of a good willingness to actually help them. That's where my conviction comes from. That's where my words come from. Comes from my heart, knowing that I can help this family. What I get paid for is the rejection. So I'm in Florida. I'm like 17 no's deep with this woman. I die on the door. I die to the point where they slam the door and then I leave. If I still feel like I can build value in the sale, I'm still there. I don't just go, oh, not interested. Okay, see you later. The average sale comes after the 5th to 8th consecutive closing attempt. So I'm on like the 17th consecutive closing attempt. And she goes right about to shut her door. And I said, miss, just before you go, I was like, just to confirm, you do want to opt out of this program and stay with the utility company, correct? And she's like, yes. And I was like, let's go. I just earned $800. And she's like, what? And she's like going to shut her door, and she opens it again. She's like, what do you mean you earned $800? And I was like, well, lady, I was like, I don't get paid when people do this. Like when people get involved with the program, they allot me 5 of these to fund. I've already done 3, and I'm going to end up doing 2 more today. But when I can legitimately opt somebody out of the program, that's how we get paid. So it's like, since you're going to opt out, I just mark it that you're opting out. And, you know, I get commission when people don't do it. And she's like so confused. And she's like, wait a second. It's just the way that you think and the mindset. You want to know a good way when they're about to slam the door in your face? The best way? So you're about to shut the door in my face? I use this one. They're ready to shut the door. I go, no, 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 no. And they open the door and you just keep going with your presentation. Try it. I mean, you can hate on it, but when you use it and then they're like, oh, tell me a little bit more. You guys know about you guys know about row your boat? Okay. I like to keep things light. We got a smaller group, like going back to having fun. You start singing this song when you're walking down the street, people are going to be like, what the heck? And they're going to be interested. It goes like this. And this is how sales works. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Yes. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Yes. That's the way sales works. But my secret ingredient is figuring out a way to have fun with this. Let's sing together. Come on, let's have some fun. On 3. 1, 2, 3. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Yes.
That's how sales works. Some do, some don't. So what? Someone's waiting. You guys have the opportunity to go trick or treat for free money. You guys are trick or treat specialists. People tell you to get a real job. Say, I do have a real job. Somebody really wise once told me you have a real job once you start making big boy or big girl money. Somebody wants to tell you to get a real job. That's not amazing. Knocking in 10-degree weather when it's snowing is not amazing. Knocking in the cold rain is not amazing. Knocking in 100-degree heat is not amazing. But what is amazing is being able to pretty much outlast everybody and being able to earn an income and create a career off knocking doors. See, sales is the lowest barrier of entry. When you think of a professional, like a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer, an athlete, these professionals, they have something called a professional contract. If you're the best, anybody play sports here? What sport? Soccer? All right. So, does the best soccer player at his high school go pro? No. Does the best football player at his high school go pro? No. You see, these athletes have to spend so much time to become a professional. Does the doctor, can they graduate high school and say, I want to be a doctor and become a doctor? What does the doctor have to do if they want to become a doctor? Medical school. And then once they got out of medical school and they get their degree, then they can start making big money, right? They have to go through what? Residency. Well, if they're doing residency, they make big money, right? No? Well, once they graduate residency, then can they become the doctor? What do they have to do after that?
Keep studying.
Keep studying. How long does that take? Like a couple months?
Takes a lifetime.
How long does it take before they could start making, like, let's say, $250K a year as a doctor?
At least maybe 20, 25 years of studying.
Damn, that's a lot. I don't know about that long, but I mean, maybe like 5, 6, 7, something around there. You see, the doctors, the dentists, the lawyers, what does a lawyer call their office?
Practice.
The practice. The common theme with any professional is practice. They have practicing professionals. It's learning. It's the investment of your time. It's the dedicated sacrifice. But the thing that a sales professional lacks compared to all these other pros is this willingness to actually pay the damn price. Paying the price that it takes to be great at sales. People ask me what's the greatest sale I ever made. It's making the decision to become a professional salesperson and marrying the game. When I was 18 years old, when I got into sales, I was so proud. I'm like, I'm a salesperson. The salesperson out-earns all of these other professions combined. You could take the athletes, the dentists, the doctors, the lawyers. The doctors add all of their income. That's it. The sales professional out-earns all of these other industries combined. But the question comes down to whether or not you're willing to pay the price, whether or not you're willing to put your last name on your back and say, I'm going to go out and prove it. Because there's people that have probably doubted you. There's people that have doubted me. And there's going to be one day where you have your back up against the wall. The greatest motivator is the need to be challenged, where you say, hey, I'm going to slap my last name on my back and I'm going to go prove it. I'll give you your aha moment right now. You all have your professional contract sitting right in front of you. It's literally right in front of you. You like soccer? On a scale from 1 to 10, how much you like soccer?
10.
10? Who's your favorite team?
From
Which team?
Medellin.
Medellin? Atletico?
Nah, the other one.
The other one, what's the team?
Medellin.
Medellin. So Medellin's your favorite team. If you had the opportunity to put the jersey on for that team and you were in the Colombia final, what would be your level of focus when you were on the field? And picture you're on the bench. It's the 74th minute. The score is 0-0. What position do you play?
Forward.
Forward. And what's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. The coach is like, Daniel, vamos, aquí. You're going in. You're going to the game. You're like, oh shit, I'm going in the game. 74th minute. And you're warming up your legs. They call your name. You run onto the field. What level of focus would you have when you got onto that field?
Scared.
You'd be scared?
No. What's scale? What's
Or like what would be your level of focus?
1 to 10?
Yeah. You'd be like dialed in. You know, you're like, shit, I'm in the game. It's a big moment. That's what you have to take in your career in sales. You have to have this level of focus. You need to have a myopic vision. You need to cut out the distractions. What you do occasionally will change nothing every single time. Someday I'm going to make a play. Someday I'm going to start training. Someday I'm going to go pro. Someday I'm going to commit to being a great sales professional. It's called Someday Island. It's just south of a place called Procrastination County, where people ruin their future, avoid the present, and live in the past. I can give you the information. I can lead you guys to the water, but it's up to you if you want to drink it. It's up to you to say, hey, I'm willing to do whatever it frickin' takes. I didn't have a silver spoon. Starting from the bottom wasn't a deficit, though. That was the gift. I realized at a young age that if I didn't make these decisions, the decisions decide your wealth. And when you procrastinate, you ruin your future, you avoid the present, and you live in the past. When you procrastinate, you ruin your future, you avoid the present, and you live in the past. So when you procrastinate, you ruin your what? You avoid the what? And you live in the what? So when you procrastinate, you ruin your, you avoid the, and you live in the, exactly. Like, I can tell you all this stuff. It's not motivation, because going back to what I said before, the purpose of knowledge is not knowledge, it's action. Whether you write this down or don't, I just want you to close your eyes for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, keep your eyes closed, and program what I'm about to say to you. Keep your eyes closed and try to go deep into your brain what I'm about to say right now. People are the reason to make sacrifices, not things, not acquisitions. People are the reason to make sacrifices, not things, not acquisitions. Open your eyes, program that. People are the reason to make these sacrifices. Next to the word success is sacrifice. People are the reason to make these sacrifices, not things, not acquisitions. Think about like your parents, or maybe it's your wife, or maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your aunt, maybe it's your grandmother, maybe it's that person that was a part of your life at one point that didn't have an opportunity like this, and you have the ability to change the whole path of your family, your kids that you may have or don't have, and you have the opportunity sitting right in front of your face. Now it's just up to you whether or not you go do it. Commit to the activity and figure it out later. Commit now, figure it out later. Risk is the down payment for success. If you make the commitment now and say, hey, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, it starts with your effort and input. If you guys sat and said, hey, Taylor, like, what do I have to do in the next 6 months to make sure that I maximize this opportunity? The first thing I would do is I would go to your significant other. I would go to the person. You guys have heard what's your why? You've heard that statement. The question should be, who is your who? You go to who your who is. You call them. You say, hey, Mom, yeah, it's Taylor. Hey, I was wondering if we can meet for dinner tonight. I have something real serious that I need to talk to you about, but I'd rather just talk to you about it face to face because it's something really important. Yeah, let's meet tonight. I really can't talk to you about it on the phone, but when we're face to face, I really need to talk to you about something important. You sit down with them and you say, hey, this is the year we're going to make it. This is the year where I'm putting our last name on our back. There's going to be a lot of sacrifice that I have to do, but I'm setting us up for years and years to come. I'm going to do it for you. And you have that conversation with that person. You let them know that you need their support. You can make the commitment now and you figure it out later. Because these opportunities aren't going to be around forever. You know, we just had, Big Bill, whatever, Big Beautiful Bill, whatever they're calling it. For me, I'm really not paying any attention to that. I don't react to news. I only react and I make pivots when they happen. So people are like, oh, the solar industry is doomed. This happened, that's happening, this is happening. They're probably going to make changes to that bill anyways by the end of the year. Yes, we can create urgency to have people do it beforehand, but the top salespeople aren't going to be affected by that. It's just going to weasel out all the Pop-Tart salespeople or the wait-and-see salespeople. A wait-and-see salesperson is somebody that goes through the process and then is like, oh, so do you want to do it? Like when I get to the end of the process, I know they're doing it every single time because I've asked questions and I've made them. I'm like a police officer in the house. Anything they say will be held against them. I write down their answers and shit, and I'm like, so you told me this, you told me that, you told me this. But going back to people are the reason to make sacrifices, not things, not acquisitions. When we define the word success, it's this continuous journey toward the achievement of predetermined worthwhile goals. How many of you guys are under 21 in here? Anybody? How old are you guys?
18.
How old are you? What were you guys doing in 2008?
Probably learning how to walk.
What were you doing in 2008?
Probably learning how to walk.
What were you doing in 2000? What was you, when were you born? 2007. What month? November 2007. So you were like a year old. 2008. That's when I started knocking doors. So like the things I'm telling you guys is not based on a theory. It's based on like spending time playing this video game. You know, if you had the person that played Call of Duty all day and they were like, yeah, you're not going to learn from somebody that played Call of Duty if they never played it from reading books. You're going to learn from the guy that's actually played the game. And like, for me, I look a lot of you guys like my youngers and brothers and sisters, because even for the people that are older than me, just because I've been in this game for so long, we're the underdogs. You know, people are preying on your downfall. People probably tell you to get real jobs. A lot of people suffer from this thing called self-doubt, while others are actually intimidated by your full potential. You could hear a lot of great things today, but going back to the purpose of knowledge is not knowledge. The purpose of knowledge is taking action. Because you could have great technique. You could have the nastiest one-liners. You could have a super positive mental attitude. And if you sit on the couch all day at home, you're going to go out of business. So it's just committing to the activity, figuring out a way to have fun. And when you can get really good at sales and you can knock 10 doors, set 5 appointments, and same day 3 of them every day, then you're at the point where it's like, wow, how much money do I want to make? But how do you get to that point? You commit to the training. You guys all have a training program here at the Pros that can help your game to the next level. But are you waking up every single morning, drinking a glass of water, and logging into the university and watching 5 training videos every day to start your day? Are you recording your presentation in the field? Are you listening to it on the way home? Are you writing out your presentation word for word? These are the things that it really takes. All these things sound great, but it comes down to you having this level of conviction that you know that you're helping people. It's like, you know, he's been in the game for how many years selling? 10 years now selling solar? You see, like, who's heard of the term solar coaster? Has anybody heard of the term solar coaster? So this solar coaster that we go on, the salesperson could reach their highest high or their lowest low within a 24-hour period. You could be like fist pumping, like you haven't even gotten inside the club yet and you're fist pumping and you have this big sale and then it cancels. Or something happens that's not even your fault and you're like, what the heck? See, he who angers you controls you. That was a money one-liner that stuck with me for so long. He who angers you controls you. When you get frustrated, you see, this is what happens. You're striving for these things that motivate you, like money, achievement, recognition, acceptance from others, acceptance from yourself. You're striving for these things that motivate you, but you're being pulled down by these things called demotivators, like self-doubt. And so many people are in a constant conflict with motivators and demotivators that they're somewhat almost paralyzed, where they want to take action, but they're just stuck thinking, or they're scrolling, or they're doing these things that aren't the most productive thing possible at every given moment. When you are frustrated and you allow that to dwell, you get mad, you quit, or you withdraw. When you get frustrated, you say, how can I be creative in this situation? That's how you get better. How many of you guys ever get stressed? What is stressed spelled backwards? If you spell stressed backwards, what does that spell? Desserts. People aren't getting stressed out when they're eating a dessert. Stressed, when I get stressed, I say stress spelled backwards is desserts. I think of these small little stupid things in my mind to help pivot the way that I think. When I first met Tom Hopkins, one of the things he told me was, Taylor, you must do the most productive thing possible at every given moment. What does a strobe light do? What does a strobe light do?
Flashes.
It flashes. On, off, on, off, on, off. Similar to a lot of these Pop-Tart salespeople. They enter the selling zone, and then they exit the selling zone. They pick up the controller, start playing Call of Duty. Oh, well, bank account's running low. Got to enter the selling zone again. Big paycheck, Call of Duty. Exiting the selling zone. Well, I want to enter the selling zone again. See, a strobe light is on and off. What about a laser beam?
Always on.
Precise. Stupid thing that I say to myself. Am I the strobe light or am I the laser beam? If I notice myself checking out or doing things off, just tell her you're strobe lighting. I call up my friends too. I'm like, bro, stop strobe lighting. You're a strobe light. And they're like, oh shit, I am strobe lighting. Got to be the laser beam. It's called a checkup from the neck up, also known as mental protein. What you fill up here creates the things that happen. But the conversations that you have with yourself are some of the most important. And the top salespeople, they shine with something we call conviction. This absolute catching belief about themselves. That's what the top salespeople have, is conviction. They have clarity. They understand tonality. They understand voice inflection. Clarity is what's going to create the conviction. Clarity, repetition, energy, belief, and service. I'm not selling anything to anybody. I just help them get involved with the product and service. If they don't do it, guess what I think? I don't pay the bill. I mean, I don't pay it, you know. What can you do? Sometimes when I'm on the process and I'm dealing with all these crazy objections, like I said, I die on the door. But sometimes if I'm like, hey, this isn't going anywhere, I just say, hey, look, like I mentioned, I already have the report about 95% of the way complete. At the end of the day, if I was to drop it off, is it something you'd at least look at, or would you rip it up? They're like, I'd rip it up. I'm off to the next door. If they're like, oh, I'd look at it, then I continue to build the value. I try to get them more physically involved. I put something in their hand. I take them for a field trip out to the sidewalk. I take them for a field trip to the side of the house. Two things that salespeople lack is they don't transition enough, whether it's transitioning to try to get the bill a second or third or fourth time, whether it's trying to transition into the home, and they don't take it away enough. Like, don't be afraid to take away the sale. You know, keep in mind, you would have to be eligible for this program. If you were eligible, you know, obviously there's a few things we would want out of it from you. And then going back to position the value. You know, ever since they released Project Alchemy, we've had so many inquiries here in the Commonwealth because this program is completely different than these other programs. With the new proposition, how it would work if you were eligible is we would just propose an idea to utilize the roof as a power plant. Any power that that system produces, you're able to buy from yourself instead of buying from the grid. So it's like the sun goes up, the bills go down. It's not what you pay per month. It's every time that meter goes tick, 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 it's what they're charging you per kilowatt hour. So it's like, imagine if the utility company sent you a little yellow coupon and they said they were never going to raise your rate again, or hey, you've been super loyal for 5 years, so we're going to actually lower what you pay. Most people aren't going to object to that. How many years was it that you moved into the home? 20 years ago. So I don't know if you moved your furniture in yourself or if somebody else did that, but typically the first day somebody calls the utility company and they're like, hey, Eversource, I just moved into this location. Can you turn on my power? Imagine that when you made that call, they said, yeah, no problem, but we're going to need to send a representative out to your house. And when that representative comes out to your home, he's going to give you option A or option B. Option A is a never-ending utility bill where the amount's going to continue to increase. And option B is a situation where you could produce your power on site, have control and predictability, and just pay less on a bill you were never going to cancel. What do you think you would have done if you had those two options?
Option B.
Yes, the only difference is I don't have an Eversource logo on my shirt. So like, it's not a complicated process. And for a lot of people, like the program makes sense because they know somebody else that's already gotten involved with it. I think for other people, it sounds way too good to be true. And you're probably sitting there like, wait a second, what's the catch? The catch is simple. Why'd you pick National Grid? You didn't. Exactly. The catch is you have to put the panels on the roof. The catch is that it's like, this is the way I try to explain it to people. What town are you selling in?
Everywhere, but I try to focus in Lynn.
Lynn. Okay, so like imagine this situation. Imagine that you were watching the Celtics game or you were watching the game and it comes to the commercials and it said, attention, a new utility company has now opened in Boston and they're working their way north and they just opened a new utility company in Lynn. Or you pull out to the turnpike and you see a big billboard that said new utility company opens up in Lynn. And you would just pay less on a bill you were never going to cancel. That's the exact concept that I'm proposing. Except instead of you being at the mercy of the power company, you're producing the power on site. So it's like not a complicated process. It's just with these older programs, you would have to take out a loan, you'd have to pay interest, and rather than me telling you the reasons you should do it, these are the reasons you shouldn't do it. And then I'm putting something into their hand. You see, this is sales. Sales is a Broadway show played by psychologists. Sales is something that the average salesperson is going to just think that they can just talk and make sales. The true pro is willing to train every single day. Like on the way here, I was listening to sales audio. When I go to bed at night, I listen to sales audio because I learn new information, and these new information gives me ideas, and my ideas have creativity behind it. And like, I'm still getting better after doing this for 18 years. There's no neutral in this process. You know, really, if you think about it, you get better or worse, no neutral within that process. It just comes down to, you know, if you're really willing to actually pay the price. Because sales isn't for everybody. 99% of people don't do it because of the rejection that we face every single day. And, you know, that rejection needs to genuinely turn you on and say, like, I love doing this. Is this stuff resonating with you guys? Okay, what are some aha moments or some takeaways that you guys have so far? What are some things that you thought about while I was speaking that you're like, wow, maybe I should do that? Mentality.
Always locked in, you know.
Uh-huh.
Check in and check out. Just be committed.
Are you the strobe light or are you the
Laser beam.
laser beam? Okay, good. Anything else? Some takeaways that you guys have so far?
Psychology of yes.
Psychology of yes. You're the product and service, energy, enthusiasm, and service. Good. Anything else?
Lowering anxiety.
What was it, Sandra? Mm-hmm. Asking the questions. And combining like the way that you can make them feel while you're asking those questions. And then getting them to talk. You know, you obviously have a reason for saying that. Would you mind sharing it with me? Wow, I get it, but what else? Right? Going multiple questions deep. You had something?
Lowering anxiety, raising certainty.
Yep. When you knock on that door, you got 2 strikes against you. They're judging you right off the beginning. That's why the things that you think about create the words. The words create an emotion. The emotion makes you feel a certain way. The feeling creates the judgment, and the judgment leads to the decision. Decisions will decide your wealth, but closing is creating the decision. So if closing is creating the decision, it really starts with your thought process in your mind. Good opportunity is a state of mind. A good deal is a state of mind. 95% of the solar industry is all screwed up right now with this big bill thing. Still a better deal. Take away the tax credit. Doesn't matter to me. The utility company's corrupt. What do you think is going to happen with the utility amounts? You know how much cost per kilowatt was when 2012, 2013 when I started selling solar here?
10 cents, 11 cents.
Yeah, it was like 12.5 cents. What is the power right now here?
Average
36. So the price has tripled. What do you think is going to happen in these other states where the amount's 12 cents right now? The amount's going to eventually go to 36 cents. And when National Grid charges $1 a kilowatt here, told you so. It's 36 cents now, but when you might be like, yeah, it's not going to get to $1 a kilowatt hour. But if they wanted to make it $1 a kilowatt hour, could they? And you know why they're going to do that? Because of the debt. There's a lot of debt. Like I just show you this. All you have to do,
That's a huge takeaway.
I'm just going to show you this. Eversource debt. Searching, generating. Eversource, as of December 24, reported a total debt of $29.18 billion. Can I get a golf clap? Golf clap. This is golf clap, everybody. It's just the, ready? Golf clap. Let's try to, sounds cool, doesn't it? $29 billion in debt. What do you think's going to happen? $29 billion in debt. Let's see National Grid. National Grid debt. Oh, damn, they're not in debt. I'm just kidding. 45 billion in debt. 45 billion euros, actually. National Grid's a European company, right, or something?
Yeah.
$45 billion in debt. Like, if these people don't have urgency, then guess who's going to have to pay that debt? Yeah. It's the rate increase is the public information. We're just scratching the surface when we talk about these 30% increases or the heart attack bill that came in the summer. What happens if the heart attack bill comes on the months where they don't have heart attack bills? That's what's going to happen. And if you have this level of conviction, then the homeowner starts thinking something. Words come out of their mouth. They have an emotion. They have a feeling. They judge you and they make a decision. But it starts with the way that I speak and the way that I think to be able to create that decision and genuinely like help this family. Like I think the utility company, I know the utility company's corrupt. I get into these crazy stories in my head that they're going to get to the end of there's a lady in Arizona that they shut off her power and she died in 110-degree heat. They shut off her power because she couldn't pay the bill. What happens when an old lady here is going to freeze because it's 10 degrees out and she couldn't pay her power bill because they raised the rate because of this debt? Those are the type of stories that I think about when I speak. It is a level of conviction that you need to have, because you could say, oh, this all sounds good, but if you don't just absolutely have this catching belief, a salesperson is first off a person that can sell themselves to themselves. And when you can sell yourself to yourself, there's no this or that. It's going back to, as you're all building your business, when you maintain something, it will become exhausting. When you build, it becomes energizing. I'm going to say that again, because that should be something that you program into your minds. Maintaining in life is exhausting. Building is energizing. What's the secret in building? It's surrounding yourself around the right people. It's about having the right environment. It's about having the right routine. It's about having the right discipline, and that starts with you having this ardent desire. You build your health, you build your wealth, you build your life. You know, a lot of you guys are 18. You guys better invite me on your yachts when you get older. Think about it. You're getting all this knowledge. You're getting an 18-year shortcut. But what you do with the knowledge is up to you. It's you guys, all of your decision that you make that will decide your wealth ultimately. Okay, any other takeaways? Anybody had any other takeaways? The debt, that hit for you? Yep. It's big. Get that printed on a slick. It is serious. We're not trying to calm down anybody. However, it is important. It's about the debt. Don't worry, it's not about yours. I don't work with the IRS. It's easier if I show you. So a lot of people know about the public information, which is the rate increases. I think a lot of families are putting one and one together, just realizing the utility continues to nickel and dime us. But what they don't really want you to know about is the 45 billion, sir. $45 billion. How are they getting out of that debt? How are they getting out of the debt? You know what's corrupt? Is there all this money in debt, but look at their profits. So how could you be taking profits but be in this much debt? Think about that. They're taking, like, Google their profit. Like, some of these companies are having their most profitable years, but they're just going more into debt. So they're taking some of that debt, distributing it, and then the debt gets higher, and they're like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just raise everybody's rates 12% next month. Like the sale's easy. It's just controlling this thing up here, the most powerful computer, when you don't feel like knocking doors. A lot of the times I don't feel like doing a lot of things, but it's a lot easier to act and then feel than wait to feel and then decide to act. First comes the action, then comes the motivation. First you move, then you have the power. Some of the times you have these doubts before you knock and you're like, oh, am I going to get a sale today? Just commit, because sometimes when you start, you accomplish things that you're like, bro, I can't even believe I accomplished that today. Some of the times when you start this blitz or you go out into the field and then you end up producing, you're like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Well, you did it, but you didn't feel like it at the very beginning. It's like the greatest feeling when you have the best sales day or you accomplish a great sale. When we talk about like these highs, and as sales professionals, we have to maintain this even keel. Sometimes we can't allow our highs to get too high or our lows get too low. But sometimes when you feel this, there's no greater feeling than that. It's like that way that you feel. It's like enjoying your existence. Well, you enjoyed your existence because you put in hard work and turned no's into yeses. You have this more belief. And when you get out of a sale, you're like, it's almost crazy if they say no. Like, you're like, why wouldn't they do this? Yeah. And especially after after the second sale, you're going into the third one, you're like, yeah, they're definitely going to do it, because you're the shining with conviction. And that's the way that you guys have to do this. But the way that you get there is by training. That training eliminates trying. It's logging into your Solar Pros Arena platform. It's going through these videos every single day. It's studying on YouTube. It might be me, it might be somebody else. It doesn't matter. Different trainers. There's different professors when you go to college. You find somebody that resonates with you, where you have these aha moments, and you dive into it. And then you make these decisions that you have to do to be able to set yourself up for the next level of your life. See, if you have this ardent desire, you have this burning desire on why you're doing something and who you're doing it for, the desire leads to you having this discipline. Affirmation without discipline is delusion, and what you do occasionally will change nothing every time. The discipline allows you to go out and demonstrate. When you demonstrate something enough, then you start to document it. Documentation is your story, where people are like, wow, he just got a new Audi. I went to high school with that kid. Wow, I wonder what he's doing. And you document and you tell a story. Through documentation, you start to duplicate. When you duplicate enough, then you disappear and you move to that next level of your business. Going back to maintaining, exhausting, building is energizing. How do you build? You have the right routine, you have the right environment, you have the right people. You do business with people you want to do life with. You figure out a way to have fun with us. Like, everything that I'm telling you, and we'll post this video so you guys can see it, but it's like, don't procrastinate and go through the motions and ruin this opportunity. Because the question I ask myself sometimes is, if there was no such thing as sales, what would I do? If there was no such thing as commission, if there was no such thing as sales, what would you do? I probably would have joined the army or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done if there was no such thing as sales. Imagine checking in a 9 to 5 every day and somebody's, having to work. Like, you guys are from Colombia? Do you have the ability to earn in one day or 1 week what some people take a year or even 5 years to make? You could earn in 1 week what somebody has to work 60 hours a week to earn in 5 years. I can lead you guys to the ideas, but it's up to you guys to say, hey, I'm going to just give it everything I got. Commitment, figure it out later, put in the work and watch what happens. That's really what it is. Okay, let's go into any other takeaways or any other questions that you guys have, or anything. Like, I'm here. I'm down to stay here for as long as you guys want. Any questions that you guys have, I'm really here for you. So. Yeah, anybody have any input? Anybody have input, anything they want to add? Any questions, any takeaways?
Urgency, and even though these tough times, I guess, in the industry, you're talking about with the debt, that's what you should pivot and use when you're doors, Zoom calls, whatever. Do it like a wallet.
Yeah, it's and another good thing that I learned when I worked for Solar City is we don't react to news. I don't react to news. I only react to changes, and when there's a change, I make a pivot. When there's real change, I'm not reacting to this news. Like, doesn't affect me. Like, oh yeah, it does affect you. Like, dude, I guarantee you a bunch of those people didn't even know about that last minute change that happened, because the way that that bill was initially proposed, it only affected people that sold loans. It did not affect the TPO process. And there was years and years and years to phase that all out. I guarantee you a lot of those people didn't even know about that last minute change. They probably just slipped it in at the end. And the way it works is it goes through the House, and then it goes through the Senate, and then it goes through the president and the signatures and all that. Like, why would I put energy into that unless it's finalized? And when it is finalized, well, guess what? I created a skill set for myself. I have these different ways to be able to position the value that it's just going to take the wait and see salespeople or the Pop-Tart salespeople. Like, anybody can save people money. I had to go to Canada 2 weeks ago, and I had to triple people's bills. It was $120, and I had to get them up to $330. First time I went to Canada, the guy was paying $60. I'm walking up the driveway. I was like, is a perfect appointment I set. And I was like, hey, what's the monthly I got to get him to? He's like, $196. And he's paying $60. And I stopped. I was like, what do you mean $196? I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck did you put the PPW at, bro? And he's like, no, dude, this is Canada. You know, it's hydro. And I was like, I checked myself. This is huge. A good deal is a state of mind. I knocked the guy's door. I was like, Peter, you have like one of the best systems I've ever seen. He's like, I knew it. Come on in. Close the deal. But if you don't believe that it's a good opportunity for the homeowner, they're going to believe the same thing. But if you have this enthusiasm and you know that you can help the family, then they're probably going to do it. And it's better for the homeowner. We're not screwing anybody over. This is much better opportunity than the utility company. Like, that's not going away. I mean, I didn't say 24 million. I said 24 billion. National Grid, 45 billion. Every utility company is in debt. I've not found one utility. Every time I research a utility company, they're showing some sort of debt. But the debt isn't the problem. They have debt, but they're taking profit. Imagine if you made 500 grand this year in profit, but you went $1 million in debt. You didn't make 500 grand. You lost 500 grand. You making it. These companies are corrupt. They're a monopoly. And I think that's where my level of conviction comes. And the same way I'm talking to you is the same way I'm talking to the homeowner. And they're like, well, that does make sense. Or it looks the part, sounds the part. You earn their trust, which is the only objection you face. Only objection you face is trust. But you also have to earn their respect. And they have to perceive you as the professional. And if they perceive you as the professional, they're much more likely to do business with you. Conviction is probably the number one reason that I sell like I do, is I just have this absolute belief and know that I can help these families. If I didn't believe in it, I couldn't sell it. Questions, takeaways?
Question about your process.
Mhm.
If you sell enough, you'll come across people who will always say they want to read the contract. I never sign anything without reading the contract.
Mhm.
What do you say, or what is your process around that?
Yeah, so I know every part of this agreement, so I could take you through every single part of the agreement. If you'd like, we can either do the short way or the long way, where I can cover each step of this agreement. I think what happens is sometimes people tend to make this a much bigger decision than it really is. So basically, the way that any agreement is written, like, lawyers get paid per every word that's in the agreement. Now, as far as like the main parts of the agreement, I cover everything at the front, and then I cover each section: arbitration, indemnification, every single part of that agreement. You need to read your agreement. How many of you guys can just be blunt? How many of you guys have never, ever read the agreement for the sales contract that you're having them sign? It's okay. Raise your hand. I know some of you guys haven't.
I read the
Skip.
depends on which one it is.
Who's ever like, Who's taken the time and read every word in the contract? You've read every word in the contract, and do you fully understand the agreement? Okay, so yeah, it's okay. You probably just skimmed over it. So the first thing that I would tell you is read the entire agreement, every single part of the agreement, and understand everything in there. One of the times I lost a sale, it was because of like what happened. It was when I first started selling solar, and it was something about hail, like that it wouldn't be protected from hail. And I was like, no, it is. And then she's like, well, like, look at this section of the agreement. And I was like, oh, damn. I was like, called the manager, and I was like, hey, what's this part about hail in the agreement? And they're like, oh, don't worry about that. There's never hail here. Just tell her she's good. And I'm like, well, the agreement says that. Like, and she's like a lawyer or something. But reading the agreement and not skipping over the agreement too, because I think a lot of the times people get to the very end of the sale and they get the yes, they do the qualification, and they try to rush through the agreement. Like, oh yeah, just click, click, click. Like, you want to be able to spend time going over that agreement too, to be able to ensure that the sale gets installed. It's not about what you sell, it's what you get installed. You know, all I can do today is submit the applications. Now, let's say that they did approve the application. We want to know that you genuinely want to get this thing installed, because they don't want me to submit applications where people don't want to get this installed. So saying that the application did get approved, would you want to get this installed? You want to get that? Yes. Sometimes I tell them at the end of the agreement, like, I don't want you to approve anything unless you're genuinely open to having the panels installed on the roof, because they don't want me to submit applications for people that don't want to actually get this installed. So let's just say the applications were approved and we were here ready to schedule your install. Are there any other questions that you have? Something that I like to refer to as the big three. This one is really good too, to avoid cancellations. At the end of my sales process, I refer to this as the big three. And the way that it goes is, you know, I go through my whole process and then I say, what was your name again?
Lewis.
So Lewis, one thing that I want to address right now is something that I like to refer to as the big three. Sometimes what happens is you might wake up tomorrow, or it might be the next day, and be like, what happens, you know, with the system if it breaks? And then you'll realize that the system is maintained and warranted for 25 years. Or it might be like, what happens to my roof? And then you'll realize the panels protect the roof, and if we ever had to take the panels off and put them back on, that you would be responsible for the labor. Or it might be like, how much am I paying for a loan, and how much am I paying like in interest? And then you'll realize that there's no loan involved. When these things happen, it's perfectly normal. Just give me a call, and I'm going to put my number right here, but it's perfectly normal that you have questions throughout the process. What I like to do is just give you an update. So every Friday, usually between 5 and 7 p.m., I reach out to all the families that I help get involved with this process, where no news is good news, because the utility company does drag their feet. And if they drag their feet, that's out of my control. But I like to just keep you updated. So every Friday, I can just give you a call, or would you prefer that I text you?
Text is fine.
Okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I just sent you a quick text. Can you just send me a quick thumbs up emoji so that I know that you got that text? And then I'm going to save my number into your phone. Do you mind just if we save my number into your phone, then I save my number, and I try to get on these emoji text message relationships with the families? Why would I get on an emoji text message relationship with a family? Who sends emojis to each other? Friends, exactly. Small little things like that. When I set the appointment, I say, okay, I'm going to send you the pre-report. Like I mentioned, it's about 95% of the way complete. All I need to know is roughly, I don't need to know like the heart attack bill, but just roughly how much you guys spend a month for the power. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to finish up that last portion of the design. I'm just going to send you a quick pre-report. What is the best contact number? Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, and then if you can just send me a quick thumbs up emoji so that I know that you got that text. And then when I pop back by, I'm going to show you two things. Where the panels are actually laid out on the roof, and exactly what your bill would have been last month. Actually, I don't know what you got going on, actually. Yeah, so tomorrow wouldn't work for me, actually. I'm going to be with families all day. Friday, okay, I'm slammed on Friday. Actually, are you going to be here in like 30 minutes? Okay, what I'll do is I'll finalize the report and I'll just pop back by. It's not a long drawn out process. We can take all the emotion out of it and just see if it's a logical situation for you. Or instead of 30 minutes, I'll say, hey, I'll just finalize the report. I don't know if you have like some time right now, and then I go into the home. But I almost make it sound like I'm super busy the next 3 days. So like I'm like, actually, are you guys just going to be here in like 30 minutes? And they're like, yeah, we'll be here. Cool, I'll just show you how it looks in 30 minutes. And I come back. I don't set appointments the next day. I don't set appointments 48 hours out. I don't set appointments 72 hours out. If I absolutely have to, I'll do it the next day. But I don't like to do that. I like to do it that same day. People overcomplicate this. And when they overcomplicate it, they get overwhelmed. That's the way that I think about it. So hope that answered your question. But being able to understand each part of the agreement and then going through it with them. I like to use jokes like, hey, if you really, if you want to read a long book, we can read it together. You can read it on your own. But lawyers, the way that they're paid is they're paid per word in every part of the agreement. The good thing is I didn't work at 7-Eleven last week, so I understand this like the back of my hand. These are the main terms of the agreement. But if you'd like, I can go over every portion of the agreement with you. Everything that I told you is exactly the way that it is. There is no more. There is no less. For some reason, if you found out something that I told you was untrue or something that just I left out, then you would just cancel. And ultimately, I would lose my job if I misled you in any way. Now, if everything that I laid out for you is exactly the way that it is, do you feel better about staying with the utility company, or do you feel more excited about, producing your power on site? Well, guess what? Everything I've told you is exactly how it is. When I'm done my process too, when I go for the final close, what I usually do after I show them all the numbers is I like to use this one-liner, and then I'm silent. I say, so after showing you all this, is there any reason why you'd want to continue paying the utility company? And then I'm silent. Small little things. I'm giving you guys a lot of knowledge today, but it comes down to you guys taking the action. The purpose of knowledge isn't knowledge, it's action. Okay, other questions? Other takeaways? Any input? Any aha moments? It depends. There's only one decision maker usually in most homes. Like, I like to use things like, other than yourself, is there anybody that would be involved with making this decision? If there's somebody else that's involved with making the decision, I take the process as far as I can, and I show them like a quick picture of the report, but I don't show them the numbers or anything. I just lay out the left side of the chart. I build the pane. I show them the report, and then I schedule another time to follow up to go over it with both the husband and the wife. So, depends, but I always try to take the process as far as I can, but I don't show them numbers if they aren't the full decision maker or the decision maker isn't there. Yeah, I say, obviously there's a few things we want out of it from you. So other than yourself, is there anybody that would be involved with making this sort of decision, or is it something that you handle? Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to challenge you to look for every reason this does not make sense. And if you find it, then you just stay with the utility company. But if we can only identify the reasons why it would help your situation, really what happens at the end is one of three things. Option one, hey, I'm not excited about it. I'm staying with National Grid. Option two, you're excited about it, and we put you into the back of the line, and we start moving our way to the front. Or the third option is you say, hey, I'm excited about it. You go to the back of the line, and then you're just not eligible, and then you're just not in line anymore. So you guys are in an inflation program. This would put you into a deflation program. Small little one-liners like that I'm always adding into the presentation. Going back to not everybody's going to do business with me, but some people do, because maybe it's because I'm Irish and I keep getting lucky. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
So I really like the concept of keeping a positive mindset and making it fun, because it's really easy to feel good when you have your best day, right, in the industry. But then when you're having, your worst day, your worst week, it's kind of hard to keep a positive mindset. Not only that, but the concept of the song of no, 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 yes, failing.
You gonna sing that shit out in the field? You gotta.
But do you do outside of that? Do you track that at all? Do you track your no's? Do you track? Like, you recommend that, or you just?
I focus on what I do right. I don't focus on anything that I do wrong. I voice record myself or I watch video footage to make improvements. But no, I'm not thinking about anything that I do wrong. And I don't have to do this. I get to do this. When I'm having not the best day, I say, hey, I have the opportunity to earn free money. How could I complain about this opportunity? I'm in sales, the highest paid profession in the world. We get to knock doors. You don't have to knock doors. You get to. If they told us no more door-to-door, you guys can only produce leads from Facebook Marketplace and Instagram. And, I remember when Solar City was like, we got done door-to-door, like I'm literally going to an appointment. They're like, you can't go to your appointment. I'm like, what do you mean I can't go to my appointment? And they're like, no more door-to-door. And I was like, what do you mean no more door-to-door? And they're like, if you'd like to continue working here, you can work out of a Home Depot. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to try to tell people where the hammers are in aisle 7 and be like, hey, where do you own a house? It's like, no way. Like, that's not me. I'm a hunter. I go out and I make the plays. I'm not going to sit around and say, hey, how are you? Have you looked into solar? What do you need from Home Depot today? I'm going from a hunter that rips solar to a Home Depot employee. Not happening. Like, there's going to be changes. They're going to take away the tax credit. There's going to be higher dealer fees. There's going to be all this other stuff. But guess what? The utility company is not going down. The best time to go solar is today. If they want to do it, awesome. If they don't want to do it, I don't pay the bill. On to the next one. No. Yes. That's how sales works. It's this game against yourself most of the time. But I'm rooting for you guys. It just comes down to if you're willing to do whatever it takes. And if you do that, I think you'll be very happy. Because when you procrastinate, you ruin your what? When you procrastinate, you ruin your what? You avoid the, and you live in the, make plays, or you can make, but you can't make, what are we making here? We make plays. We make plays.
Give Taylor a big round of applause.
You have a question, brother?
Well, one of the things that stuck to me was that commit to the activity. Like, do you map out your whole life around work, or can you share any light on how to be the most sort of like efficient when it comes to doing this and showing up every day?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices. Temporary imbalance is how you get ahead, though. I'm going to even it all out. Sometimes I even it out at the end of the year. Like I'll work. My plan this summer is I'm going to go Monday, Tuesday in an office. Wednesday, I'm going to travel. Thursday, Friday, I'm going to be in another office. Saturday, I'm going to travel. Sunday, I'm going to have off. Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to be in another office. Wednesday, I'm going to travel. Thursday, Friday, I'm going to be in another office. I'm going to do that schedule from pretty much middle of or beginning of June until the end of September. So June, July, August, September, that's going to be my schedule for 4 months. I'm going to be living on an airplane and out of hotels, and that's my plan. I'm going to go city to city, state to state, different teams, because it's the most productive thing possible for me to do. Because what do I need to do? I need to create. I need to create content. I need to create value. I need to create, and that's the most important thing that I need to do. Well, at the end of September, if I want to go to Colombia for a month and go hang out, I could do that. If I want to go, like next week, I'm going to Ireland with my family. It's a bucket list trip for me. We came from nothing, and like being able to take my whole family to Ireland, I'm like, hey, I covered everything. I haven't told them yet, but I rented a castle. And I haven't told them yet, but I rented a castle in Ireland. And I'm like, hey, I got a little surprise for us. So it's like coming from my dad coming down to his last $20 to pulling up to that castle, and I'd be like, hey, we're staying for the next couple nights. They'd be like, what the heck? Well, how'd that happen? It was from me dedicating myself to my craft. There's a lot of sacrifice that's involved with this game, but it's all worth it. And you have to live you know, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all these things that are important. But it's just sometimes you have to put on the blinders, become myopic, cut out the distractions, realize what's your kryptonite that's holding you back. What's the thing that's you got to cut out of your life? You guys ever make a to-do list? Like, these are the things that I got to do. Start making a not to-do list. Not to-do list. Don't do this because it does not serve you. I need to make a not to-do list because I have these kryptonites that are holding me back. I'm not perfect. You guys aren't perfect either, probably. There's things that I do that are on my not to-do list, and I've got to cut those out. Vulnerability is the birthplace to innovation, though. And when you're super real with yourself, that's how you can make moves in the direction that you want to go. Our lives are like a stock. You're either moving up or down in every category. But it just goes down to building. And I think that if you surround yourself with the right people, that's easy to build. It's really hard to build if you don't do business with people you want to do life with. People don't quit companies, they quit leadership. You want to find the right people that you want to surround yourself with, and you want to find people that like genuinely care. And the reason that I'm with Solar Pros, the reason that I'm in training is because like I do give a shit about you guys' success. I do care about the people. Like, we're underdogs. People tell us to get real jobs. We do have real jobs. We're trick-or-treat specialists. Other questions? Any takeaways? Anything else? You guys got some value from today?
Definitely.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. And, you know, like the idea is you probably got some of the information. Like, it's hard to program all of that into your mind at once. But the way that you really get this is through repetition. You know, repetition, watching YouTube videos, and the training eliminates trying. So I'm rooting for you. Rooting for you. Got you, brother.
Cool.
Thank you.
Turn it over to Mr. Will.
The only thing I got to say, guys, I don't take anything away from Taylor's message, but with the certainty of what's going on right now, it's the best time to sell it right this second. As of now, things have to be turned on, PTO'd by the end of the year. Let's assume that that's how it's going to be and not even get caught up in the noise and just sell lights out right now. There's no reason to worry about anything else.
Yeah, great point. It's, let's say that does happen and things drastically change. Don't be the person that goes through these next 6 months and says, oh, I just kind of half-assed it and I didn't take advantage of the opportunity. How do you guys feel like you could be working harder? Like all of us, right? You can all work harder. But a lot of the time, like my story with Solar City, when they told us we had to work out of a Home Depot, don't wait until they tell you have to work out of a Home Depot. Don't wait until these things happen, and train every day. The things you're doing off of the doors needs to be to get you into the groove when you're on the doors. Think about that. The things you're doing off of the doors needs to be to get you in the groove when you're on the doors, and the harder you work on yourself, the better that you are with this little game we play, I guess. Cool.
Good stuff.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Next time I'll be coming, I'll be knocking with you guys. So
Hell yeah.
we'll make a movie next time.
Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it.
All right, and that's a wrap. A lot of mental protein in there. Not taking notes is like eating spaghetti with a spoon. You get a lot on you, but not a lot in you. You might need to watch this over and over and over. Repetition, you need to hear, read, write, and say something 6 times to gain 62% of the retention. If you're able to retain that information, we call it Go-Go Gadget Bank Account. There's some secrets in sales, and I just gave you a lot of them right there. Let's make some plays.